Welcome to the Warm-Up Podcast. We've got to be a bit more professional at the top here, guys, because this is the station's biggest podcast. Have you got that, Gav?
It's number one.
Have you granted the significance of that?
Well, it's massive.
It's massive, isn't it? James, how do you feel about that? That's James Brown, Princepreneur.
It's a heavy responsibility.
We're going over to James Brown now for comment. James, what do you think about the allegations that it's the best podcast?
It's a huge responsibility for us to carry.
Do you think you can handle that?
I'm not sure.
Gavin.
Can we maintain the freshness
Gavin.
in the team, in the squad? Can we keep the success going?
I don't know. How do you keep? I don't know how to keep rolling with it. I mean, it's if I'm honest with you, so it's a bit like this show. How I feel, you know, when you see potholers, an occupation and a hobby I can't understand.
Yeah.
But they just go down a pothole and they're not sure where on earth.
They're not sure if they're coming back.
Where they're going to come out. Yeah. They just don't know where they're going to come out. They're going to find the connection.
Claustrophobic and nightmare.
That's what this show's like for me. We just go in this pothole. It's dark. It's claustrophobic. It's hideous. It's cramped. It's a nightmare. And then suddenly we emerge into daylight.
There's no guide rope or anything.
There's no guide rope. There's just beardy men with lights on their foreheads.
We did all the content that we'd planned in the first 12 minutes.
And then no less than that, James. We did. I'm not kidding. It was about 7 minutes in. No, because I did save a bit for later.
My mate said to me, "Do you do a lot of preparation?" I said, "No, we just show up and talk rubbish for 2 hours."
No, never say that. Always make out you do loads. I don't say that. Here's the podcast.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The Warm-Up with Johnny Vaughan on Talk Sport.
The Warm-Up's alive!
You know it. Oh, yes. Good morning. Welcome to the warm-up in association with Capital One. I'm Johnny Vaughan. On the day when Manuel Pellegrini blasts Jose Mourinho for claiming that refs favour Manchester City. Swansea caretaker boss Gary Monk, crazy name, crazy guy, has a baptism of fire as his side face local rivals Cardiff, so not international football in Wales today. The South Wales derby, incidentally, live on TalkSport this afternoon at 5:30. Follow all the action. Oh, it's going to be brilliant, isn't it? Warming up alongside me, the whistle blower and the man with the definitive word on referees and more. Ladies and gentlemen, the Woodman's here.
Morning, Johnny.
Gavin Woods, that is. And Princepreneur James Brown. What's the matter?
It's just, obviously the listeners don't understand this, but it's freezing every week in here. We call this show the warm-up.
I know,
it's like we're in that fridge Rocky used to train in.
And the worst thing is we've been so talk-sported. Remember, this is a building where there's just two gents' lavatories next door to each other. That's how manly it is. I was looking for it the other day. I was thinking,
on air and off air.
It just says gentlemen. Yeah. Anyway, it is the South Wales derby today. It's quite exciting. Sorry, I just slipped into Welsh. The word brilliant always remains my favourite word in Welsh. Always brilliant.
Brilliant.
Because this...
you like that, didn't you?
I once interviewed this woman on air. She'd been to a Madonna concert. And everyone at the time had been really offended because Madonna entered on like a big cross. She was sort of crucified.
Oh, yeah.
And instantly this woman says, "Oh, it was a great gig, see." She's gone, "Madonna, she came in on a great big cross. It was brilliant." She just loved it. "Oh, she looked great up there." A friend of mine was once in a shopping centre in Osaka in Japan. I don't know if the Japanese get it wrong or this is any illustration of that, but there was a nativity scene laid out and it was amazing. This nativity scene, incredible, in this shopping centre. And he looked above it and he thought, "What the hell is that?" And you know what it was? There was a revolving crucifix above the stage. But no, wait. They had Santa nailed to it. Smiling, with a great big nail through his boots. He was just smiling really nicely down the room. He looked really happy. They just sort of got it wrong. They thought, well, it's Christian and it... Anyway, this is the warm-up. Welcome to the show. Just talking there about... Manuel Pellegrini blasting Jose Mourinho for claiming that refs favour Manchester City.
They're going at it, aren't they?
Well, on the back of the Sun, it's just... Well, Gavin and I can reconstruct exactly the argument.
So Mourinho says...
Mourinho goes, "Shit.
Liar.
Cheat.
You are a liar.
You're a cheat.
You are a liar.
You're a cheat." And that's essentially it. But, Gav, there's a great quote as well. Mourinho's come out with one of these... You know, sometimes, I think Cantona started it with his, was the ears of the seagulls full as a fishing boat. And they just do it to sound dead intellectual. They sort of go... They go a bit...
Well, they do it to protect, to accentuate their foreignness.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure they make up sort of peasant wisdom.
It's disingenuous.
Mourinho said something about how, City are like a thoroughbred horse and we are like a baby horse that still need the milk or something. I can't remember.
But I'm saying, this is getting ridiculous.
Fantastic.
He says, when the rabbit nibbles at lettuce, he does not wish it was tuna. This is for the cats.
And this is normal.
You said that. You made that
I just
up.
made it up, yeah. But it's ridiculous. These sort of peasant quotes. When the donkey cannot go on, you can hit it with a stick or you can shoot it.
We've had one at Leeds this week of all the chaos. The board of GFH, who did own the club until yesterday, have just been invisible. They've just gone unhid. And
have they?
Yeah, the chairman came in the Yorkshire Post this morning and said, "There's an old Arabic saying: when people go away for a long time, they come back with goodies."
That's fantastic.
What an excuse for bottling it and getting rid of any responsibility.
Text us if you do know what the Arabic word for goodies is. I don't know.
Bakshish. I don't know what it is.
The bakshish. The bakshish. Anyway, what else was going to look at? Oh, Sepp Blatter's been in the... Weak Bladder. Weak Blatter has been in the news again. Weak Blatter.
He's talking about his future.
And I absolutely love... I mean, I'm a big fan of Sepp. He knows the way football's going. He says, I'm in good health.
No, he says, I'm in good health.
He says, I'm in good health. I don't see why now I should think work I am stopping, yes? He also says, if the member associations to be a candidate are asking me, no, I would not be saying. So he's... But I think this sort of...
He always puts it on the committee.
He does,
ask me...
How about asking the rest of us?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a bit like Putin does that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If they want me to change the title but stay in charge,
Yes,
then
fine.
so be
That's
it.
what it'll
Could I
be.
say at the same time, could everyone stop putting my name in the frame as the future president of Chelsea Football Club? No, I'm just saying, could you stop it?
Are you denying that,
No,
Johnny?
I'm denying it. I'm denying it. Lord Attenborough is still alive. Yeah, so it's insulting. Yes, I'd be great with both with fans, players, and the corporate clients.
Yes.
And I'd create a good atmosphere around it. Yes, I've got a long association with the club,
Yes.
and I love Chelsea. And yes, I would be willing to give up the time.
But
yes,
you haven't thought
Do
about
you
it.
I
know
haven't
Richard?
thought about it.
Do you know Richard Attenborough?
Yes, I do know Lord Attenborough.
Do you think
yeah.
you could get him to come on so we could interview him about The Great Escape?
Oh, it's a very, very good idea.
Do you think you could ask him and he could talk about Chelsea?
Why do you only want to talk about the Great
well,
Escape?
that's like big memory from a kid.
Gav, you know Lord Attenborough, don't you?
I have met him many times.
Oh, man, do you know why? Because we forget this. Because Gavin has actually had the experience of someone playing him in a film
Indeed.
in Cry Freedom.
Yeah, well, he directed the film.
Do you know
about
him
it.
through
directed the
horse
film.
racing?
I met him through horse racing.
As a football man.
He is a football man.
He's a football man,
He's been, in love with Chelsea his whole life.
We should have asked Quinny
Anyway,
about whether horses do get fed on milk.
We should do.
'Cause my cousin
Quinny
looks
wouldn't
after
know.
horses. He's got
is
stables.
it
and he
gold?
Quinny
never
knows-
seen,
Quinny
never
knows a
seen
lot-
any putting milk in the horses.
No, they don't.
He
do they?
oats have a big nose bag.
When they put the milk in the horse, it's to make them not like the
A little
water.
horse drinking milk.
Yeah.
it's weird.
What is all that
What
about?
farms has
strange
Mourinho
image.
been to?
I don't know. No, but that's the whole thing, isn't it? He's creating that peasant thing. Like as a child, he used to feed
Can I
milk.
flag up the
go on.
social media thing this week?
Yes.
Last week you were
No,
talking...
wait, no, James.
Okay, all right, then go.
James, you're exactly 2 minutes ahead of schedule.
Oh, okay, sorry.
What have they been texting you about this week?
Well,
no,
you-
sorry.
you-
What are you warming up for today?
Last week you were talking about a player whose surname was Wardrobe, and we mentioned Kenny Jackett.
Barry
and
Wardrobe.
So this week people have been getting in touch.
I might have made it up, James.
Right, okay.
I don't know. I do
No,
talk
but-
a lot of rubbish.
No, but so we've been looking for footballers you can wear.
Okay.
So my examples are Kenny Jackett, Ralph Coates, Supermac.
Nice.
And it's
Supermac's
we've had
very
a
good.
brilliant response. There's a fella called Nick Hardy, who's I think is a Liverpool fan. He says
Yeah.
Martin Skirtle.
Yeah, that's good.
first
Because
good.
I
Okay.
thought these were
good.
going to... I couldn't think of any more after Supermac. And he's also come in with DJ Campbell for special
Okay,
occasion.
that's nice, that's
and
nice.
Scott Parker. So
Okay.
Nick Hardy set the
good.
set
Parker's
the bench.
got- of course,
That's
Parker.
very good, yeah.
There's loads of them.
Yes.
Eunice Cagoule, says Gary Owens. And
brilliant.
he beats his own record there with Jose Marino. It's brilliant. We've got...
Oh, wait a second.
Mourinho
That gave me
Wall.
that look like we were laughing. Oh, Mourinho Wall, of course. Okay, fair enough. Okay, but that's, yeah.
Send them in.
I have to say, James also, well, in a second, James has got a bit of a confession to make, but because we busted him on something. And it was something I was talking about on Monday, so it will also be part of our
To be fair, I confessed it.
Well, you let it slip, and then I put two and two together. That was the same injury. We'll talk about that in just 1 second. Meantime, though, all your footballer clothing text, please, should come in to these numbers. Get involved by calling the warm-up with Johnny Vaughan on 08717 223344 or email us via talksport.com. Text us at 81089. 50p plus normal sending charges apply.
The warm-up on TalkSport with Capital One, official credit card of the Football League.
Gordon Jackson passed away, is he?
I think he did. We were just talking about.
We can't start announcing not deaths haven't happened because it really annoys people.
I've heard two versions.
But anyway, I just say that during the break, what it meant we were doing is we were just sitting here like morons, just going...
Talking about the professionals.
Just going, Buddy. He was always cautioning Bodie, wasn't he? Anytime there was they had to look through a telescope or something, doing surveillance, they'd always... They always look. He died in 1990, James. It's not new news. I've just got that from the producer. Thank you very much for telling us that there. Appreciate that now. What's good there? Died in 1990 there, Johnny.
We were talking about it because he's the guy that escapes with Lord Attenborough.
Yes, in the
Great Escape.
Yeah.
He gets caught out when the German speaks English to him, which was true.
Lord Attenborough as well has got nothing to do with the show whatsoever, except I'd just like to scotch the rumours that I'm out for his job as president of Chelsea Football Club. Yes, I would be a perfect candidate.
Suggsy.
Yes, I would be a massive favourite with the fans. Yes, I would be great with the corporate people.
But you've never thought about this job?
I've never even thought about it. Yes, I would.
If called upon.
If called, I would sit nice
Here's a
doing
bit of
it.
film Chelsea trivia that I like. In the Italian job, when they're going along disguised as football fans,
Yeah.
in a little minivan.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the side,
It says Osgood.
It says Osgood is good.
Yeah, it says Osgood is good. Yeah. Hang on, wait a second. We had something really important to tell you then.
Oh, about the
I
injury.
know. I know. Whenever on the professionals, they look through the telescope.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's just checking what the lads have been doing surveillance on. It's always a dolly bird with a frups out, isn't it? Like in a nearby farm.
And he tells him off.
He tells him, he goes, Buddy, come on, you stupid boys. 3945.
He was the Fergie of security services.
He was
wasn't
actually.
He really
He
was.
was like strikes. I think the reason people didn't really get it with him is because he had been Hudson in Upstairs Downstairs, and they saw him very much as a below stairs character.
Yeah, not a boss.
And suddenly he was the boss. But there's one hilarious thing in one episode of The Professionals, which you must catch. It's when there's an interior car shot of him driving the Granada, and he's driving it really sedately, yeah, and just talking to them. But yeah, when they do the
External shot.
the external shot, the wide shot of the car,
It's hammering down.
it's just hammering down. It's being driven down a country lane by like a rally driver. And they keep cutting inside the car, and he's talking really comfortably without his eyes even on the road.
When you do that, when you're filming, drive a car like that,
Yeah.
you're supposed to shut the roads and have
Yeah,
health
yeah,
and
yeah,
safety.
yeah.
They didn't used to do that in the professional.
Course
They just
they
used
didn't.
to do it.
Anyway, we've got Simon Jordan. He is our former Crystal Palace chairman. I met him the other night. He's a lovely man,
Yeah.
and he's on the show right now. Do you know what's going round and round my head now? All I can think of is Buddy. It's terrible. Simon, good morning.
Morning, boys. Telstar, there's a trip down amnesia lane for me.
Well, tell us the connection why we've done it.
I made a film, produced a West End play called Telstar, written by a very good friend of mine, Nick Moran, who's incidentally, boys, starring in a play with Martin Shaw.
Oh,
Really? He's the new Bodie.
And do you know what? There is another connection.
Bodie.
There's another connection here because we were talking earlier about how Gav has had someone playing him in a film. Nick Moran has played me in a film.
What film was that?
It was
What
just
was
a
that?
short. It was a short film.
right.
It was a short film, but he's played me. Yeah, ask him about it. He's played me.
Was it an adult film or was it? Like...
Can I just say, James, incidentally, it's not adult. It's adult when you're talking about films.
Adult
films.
It's a bit of Johnny Vaughan.
There was lots of adults that don't do that. Simon, pre-match hospitality with other clubs' board members. How did you entertain guests at Selhurst Park? Were you a good entertainer?
Well, I think, thinking back about it, I wasn't the most hospitable of people because I was very rarely in the boardroom myself. My routine was to avoid the boardroom like a plague because most of the time I had very little in common with other football club chairmen because at the time I was very young and I had different outlooks. So I don't know if I was hospitable. My main.
So what were you doing then at the time?
Well, I got to games very late. Depends on the manager, Johnny.
Did you go to the game? Did you go to the games? Did you go to them?
Of course I went to the
Okay,
games.
okay.
I went to every game, mate.
Oh,
but
okay.
the fact of the matter is that I had a routine. Depends on the manager. When
Okay.
Trevor Francis was the manager, we used to have a breakfast. Trevor used to live on Trevor Street in Trevor Square in London, believe it or
Really?
not.
Knightsbridge?
Yeah.
Do you know what's really weird about that? Here's another day of coincidences. That's where my mum met my dad.
What, in Trevor Street?
In Trevor Square.
Oh, okay.
At the tea party. At the tea party.
Haven't you seen the plaque alluding to that?
No, there wouldn't be a plaque to do that because they're sadly no longer together.
So hang on. So depending on how well you got on with the manager, you showed up earlier to hang out with him.
No. Depends upon the routine. Every manager and every relationship has its own different foible or peculiarity. But my attitude towards the games and the whole thing was it was business. So on a Saturday, I wasn't really there to grip and grin. What I wanted to do was win, beat the opposition up, and disappear. And
Nice.
hanging around the boardroom with a group of people that ostensibly were there for the same thing, really wasn't my bag. As I got older, I realised that perhaps it was better to be a little bit more indulgent of other people because,
Okay, Simon, be a bit careful. You did sound like you were sort of like a chairman stroke hooligan.
No, he sounds like a fan.
He
Yeah,
really
he
is.
sounds
He
like a
says,
fan.
all I was interested is going around the back, see what sort of a crew they brought down.
Rolling last minute.
Just rolling last minute, beat the opposition up. And they'll maybe plot up at a service station. See what's going on. It was machetes in the car park with me, John.
Do you boys leave me here? I meant beat up metaphorically.
Okay, fair enough. Just be careful, because remember our listeners are out there and a lot of them are a bit tasty.
Yeah, all three of them, yes, absolutely.
Okay, nice.
I'm down in Spain, Johnny, actually, with a mate of yours, actually.
Who?
David Tabazel.
Oh, you down with Tabazel? Good lad.
Yeah.
Good lad.
Very
But,
good
but this isn't a private conversation. All right, how is he? How's his missus? Okay, let's carry on. Here we go. The second leg of the 2001 League Cup semi-final, Liverpool at Anfield, you went into the boardroom and one of the Liverpool directors handed you a plaque and said, "We like to give the smaller teams a memento of their visit to Anfield." What did you reply?
You've been reading my book, have you?
Yes, I have.
Yes. I sort of looked at David Moores with a degree of disgust. He was a Liverpool chairman at the time. Turned round to somebody and said, "Excuse me, hang my coat up." And that person happened to be Chris de Burgh. I thought he was a boardroom attendant. But no,
nice.
it was all psychological nonsense. I mean,
Okay.
we walked into Anfield, and Gerald Houllier was standing at the front there, shaking all the players' hands, saying, "Welcome to Anfield, nice to have you here." And I remember the manager, Alan Smith, looking at him with absolute disgust. So no, I was not thrilled to be handed a rather tatty little pendant in what I considered to be a rather tatty little boardroom where the chandelier... Where the chandelier reached the floor. It was like sitting in the front room of the royal family.
No.
Something as articulate as that, yes.
Okay, can I just say to anyone out there, if you do see Christopher, give him your coat and tell him to hang it up. I think it's a really funny thing to do. Any time anyone sees Christopher, I go, "Oi, Chris, hang up your coat."
And
Cheers,
shout
mate.
180.
Yeah, shout. If you see Christopher, shout 180. That's genius, Gav. Okay, was it? I want to ask you about the first chairman we've had on. I just want to ask you about how difficult it is to sack a manager and how you do that. What was your tactics there?
Well, it's one of those, isn't it? It's like anything else. You know, you say to a manager, I don't know how we're going to get along without you, but as on Monday we're going to try.
Is that what you did? Is that the sort of thing you used to say?
It's big fail, yeah.
I don't know why we're laughing, because we're not. Our position here isn't that secure.
Yeah, but it's firm. It's firm.
It depends on the manager. With Ian Dowie, I would have danced the jig of joy because I disliked him intensely. But sometimes you get involved. I was very fond of Trevor Francis, but he wasn't the right fit for the club. So you've got to do what you've got to do, and you've got to remember, put the emotivity one side and look at it from a business point of view.
Why say, whoa, Jordan? Sorry, that sounded weird, because that's instantly I thought of the woman with the, Can I just say, Ian, what's wrong with Ian Dowie?
Read my book. Don't quote passages from it. Read it.
Okay. Well, I will read it, but I'm sure you can give us a summary. Come on.
No, well, I took it. I went to court with the man for fraudulent misrepresentation. I think it was pretty extreme. I served a writ on him in Charlton's press conference when he was announced as manager. I think my dislike and distaste for Ian is well known.
I know it is, but what started it? I mean,
he walked out on the club.
He said he wanted to be further away from London or something. Ended up in a different club in London.
Yeah,
about 3 miles away.
Yeah, but I'm sure you've told a few porkies in business.
How dare you?
It's the correct answer.
Some people you get on, some people you don't. Ian and I just didn't get on.
That's more what I wanted to sort of look at. Is when did that with a manager? When do you sort of when do things start to go wrong? And what do you sort of do when you sort of think, am I going to try and patch this up and make it good, or I'm just going to have to go with the hate?
Well, some people, there's an old saying, you can't negotiate with terrorists. So some people you just can't get on with.
Yeah.
And Ian was one of those. He was a very capable guy, but at the end of the day, Ian does work for somebody. He did work for me. There was a way to act and there's a way to behave. And Ian, to me at the time, was young as well. So perhaps we were both very young in the way we looked at things. I think they get carried away with themselves, football managers. They forget that actually they are an employee, a very important employee, and the face of the football club. But they still have to answer to somebody. That doesn't mean the chairman runs around going, by the way, I'm the boss every day.
Yeah.
But there is a way to operate, and sometimes football managers overstep the mark. And Ian did that pretty much dawn till dusk.
Okay. I mean, are you quite a control freak, or do you let people get on with it once you've hired them? That's it.
No, Johnny, absolutely. You don't have a dog and bark. I wouldn't own Talk Radio and go and do your show for you, mate.
Yeah.
Although some people may think I should do.
Me being one of them. Go on.
But no, absolutely no. I think at the end of the day, you give people enough rope to either run with or hang themselves with.
Yeah.
You don't pay managers top dough and then sit there going, I want to pick the team.
So you never interfere. You don't interfere then.
No. I show it a great deal of interest because what would I be doing owning a football club if I wasn't interested in what was going on?
I only say it, Simon, because I know you sunk a lot of money into Palace, and I would imagine, you sort of think, if something's happening. I mean, it's bad enough I've just sunk the amount of a season ticket into Chelsea, and believe me, I'd love to interfere more. But when you sunk in like millions, like you did, and things don't go right, I mean, you must sort of think, God, the frustration,
No, but you are, as a chairman, as an owner, you have the ultimate decision, which basically means if you want to have your say, you do what you asked me about 5 minutes ago. You take a manager out.
Okay.
Simon, can I just ask you? Have you ever not wanted to or tried to buy another club since?
Well, Palace was my team. It was a team my father played for. I supported all my life.
Yeah, but you might be less. You might be more objective if you weren't a fan.
That's a good point, James. That's a very good point.
I was very objective because ultimately, once you're in there and you're writing checks out left, right, and centre, you soon become objective. Once you see how football really operates, see how players really think, and see what goes on, you lose a degree of the emotivity and the allegiance to your club. Not the belief in your football club or the fan in you, but you become more objective. So I was objective at Palace.
Simon, a lot of fans, particularly their clubs, sort of dream of owning their club. It's the sort of thing I'd love to, just sort of step in.
It's not a dream.
It's not good, is it?
It's not a dream. It's not a dream. I mean, sometimes I say, and I don't want to be like the purveyor of doom, but I think if a lot of fans really got to see behind the scenes of how players think, how football clubs operate, they may never go to another game again.
Yeah.
So it is a difficult business to be in. It has its moments. I mean, Christ, you walk around the pitch in May 2004, seeing 40,000 Palace fans screaming mad because we got promoted to the Premier League, and you go, wow, here we go. This is what it's all about.
Had you always wanted to sort of to kind of own Palace? It had been a real ambition of yours.
No,
it's not like the song
stepped in.
The song "Everybody Wants to Rule the World," which I disagree with. Incidentally, I'd like a mate of mine to do that. Just to be quite tight with him.
Not at all, boys. I mean, I was 31 when I bought Palace. If Palace were in administration, I just sold a business for 75, 80 million quid. Palace was there and thereabouts. I figured I had the energy, vitality, and the ability to go into that business and drive Palace back up. And the passion. And, it's like the Dr. Pepper advert. You think to yourself, how bad can it be? And you'll find out.
Okay. Listen, it's been really, really nice talking to you.
And you.
I've also got down here that you're a huge fan of the Specials, and you help them reunite for a comeback tour. I love the Specials as well.
I reformed them with Terry Hall, Linville Golding, Neville Staple, all those boys. Mad Specials fan, also Mad Madness fan as well. So no stunts as well. Chelsea boy. Nice one. And then again, another coincidence.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Simon, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you very much for being candid. And I shall read your book. It sounds like it's a real page turner. You take care of yourself, matey. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Simon.
Pleasure. Thank you. Simon Jordan there on the warm-up.
I must say, it's one.
Right, see,
It's a cruel mistress, football, isn't it?
It's one of those books.
Buddy.
When you put it down, you find it hard to pick up.
Don't. It'll serve you a rip for that, definitely. It's 11:32. This is the warm-up in association with Capital One, official credit card of the Football League. I'm sorry if I sounded a bit butty-inny there with Simon Jordan.
You didn't this week. There was
Didn't
less
I?
butty in this.
Was there? It's just. I just got so much to burn through with him. I was given.
I thought it was a good interview.
Did you?
Yeah, it
Let's
did.
not deconstruct things on there. We'll do it off air.
Yeah.
Here we go. We'll be
No,
talking about.
we'll be talking about the professionals
We're
in a
going
minute.
to be talking about professionals again. Take it.
Da-da.
The warm-up on TalkSport with Capital One, the credit card that supports the supporters.
This is the warm-up. I'm Johnny Vaughan. Could everyone stop texting in, trying to put my name up as some kind of Chelsea president? It's not happening. I don't want it, guys. Yes. You know, I'm like a sacred frame to players, fans, and corporate customers alike. Yes, I would bring in loads more sponsorship and stuff. Yes, I'd be perfect at... Sorry.
Yeah. Emulsion is for footballers you can wear Theo Walcott and Joe Jordan's.
Nice. I've got Socrates, Tony Coton, Ralph Coates, and Alan Brazil.
I got one from Alison. Papa Boob
That's from
Tube
Fergie.
Diop.
Sorry, go on.
Papa Boob Tube Diop.
Nice. That's a very good
That's
one.
from Alison. That's
Graham
brilliant.
Martin says Pant Silamon, the Man City goalie.
Nice. You go.
Bob DeMello, he's sent loads. Neil Blazer Ruddock, which I like. Mark Pullover Mars, and Burnt Schuster.
Have you been getting these all week?
Oh, yeah, people since last week's show, people have been sending them in.
Thank
one
you
from-
very much indeed for everyone who's sending these. Gav's got more. Go on.
From Steve in Liverpool, or he's calling himself Brassol. Morning, guys. My footballer you can wear is Sander Westerveld.
Nice.
quite
Could
good.
you start all your texts, please, with AAFM? As a football man, something which we're all going to get tattooed on our knuckles.
Yeah.
It just looked really
I
good.
thought we were
Look,
going to
sorry.
say something else.
It'll just look really. No, I think if you had AAFM on your knuckles, for some reason it just looks really jail.
It does.
Looks like some weird,
some club you
some
shouldn't
weird
belong
should
to.
say
rebel
that,
thing in jail. AAFM, all something, somethings.
They're brilliant now. The fellow who sent in Socrates is named Garlic Bread 1980.
Nice.
He's also sent in Lee Chapsman.
Yeah, good. Nice pair of chaps.
Do you know? I once. Did I tell you about my steam room story with Lee Chapman?
Should we be
No, I had a really
staying
weird
that on
moment.
the
I was at this health club, yeah,
Yeah.
and it was
His
really
health club or this?
at this. I was at a health club, and it was really it was very steamy in the steam room.
Yeah.
And the steam cleared, yeah, and I was sitting there. I looked around. Do you know who's in there? Lee Chapman, Dr. Fox, Ainsley Harriott, and Ross Kemp.
Well, some sort of celebrity
no,
orgy.
it was like the worst ever celebrity show. It was like I was thinking like
You were the host.
it was just really strange. I looked around. I'm thinking
Steam room with
I was
Johnny
thinking,
Vaughan.
single room
here's
Big
a few
Brother.
here's a few of us with no work. Also, before we do Back in Black, one just other quickie for you, because I'm at a safe distance from the news. There's a story in the news at the moment about some police officers who've been found with some naughty videos on their phones. I don't know if you heard that, but they're in protection at sort of Downing Street and around there or whatever they do. And but a friend of mine went to Downing Street and they search your bags when you go in there and you have to put everything out on a table. When you he went to reception there, and he'd forgotten what he had in his briefcase and in his bag, and they emptied that and they brought out, and do you know what the DVD he had with him? And it's so brilliantly immature and embarrassing. Just so juvenile. What's this about, son? Okay, it was a cycle.
It's just a.
It was a car. It was a car.
It's a lady-friendly owl
It was
documentary.
exactly. Hey! Anyway,
It was an academic piece.
let's have nice one, Gav. Let's have Back in Black. Here we go.
Back in Black.
Back in Black with your man, the woodman, Gavin Woods. Are you all right there, Vinny?
Yeah, very well.
Gav Boat. Okay, first of all, we want to talk about the man with the hair.
Well, it's been going on all week. Andy Carroll's red card. Flores jumped on him
Yeah.
and should have had a yellow, I think, for the elbow he put into Andy Carroll's
He
neck.
mounted him
Yeah,
like
he
a
properly
goat.
did. And when Carroll kind
When
of...
the good mounts the player.
Carroll flipped him off and off his shoulders.
That sounds a bit odd.
And as he... And
Don't
he
use that expression again. It
that's
really
it.
sounds really
There'll be
weird.
people swerving.
He flipped him off.
So he was leaning back in his car, flipping
And
off.
as he got rid of him, he kind of swung round as if to say, "Get off me." But he did swing his arm,
Yeah.
and it was a red card.
Yeah.
And even though they've appealed it and been refused now, the
Yeah.
appeal, so, even if Flores did dive around like a
Gavin,
girl...
I think he's a victim of his size. I think if that's a smaller player like Brian Flynn or
wouldn't
Dennis
have connected
Wise,
with his head.
No, but he wouldn't have been given. I've had this with Sam Diss, who's a football writer, West Ham fan. He thinks he was right to go. I don't think he was.
No, I
I think he was just trying to get the bloke
What
off
do you mean
him.
you've had this with...
I've had this discussion this week with
You can't
Sam,
swing your
who's
arm
a
into
West Ham
someone's head.
fan.
You can't
He
swing your arm.
thinks, being even though he's a fan of Andy Carroll
Yeah,
and
yeah,
West
yeah.
Ham, he thinks Andy Carroll
It was a
should have
red,
been sent
yeah,
off.
yeah.
I don't think it was.
I think I've watched it
Just ruins the
1,000
game.
times. He deliberately swings his arm.
I know,
He
but
does.
compare that to when somebody goes charging in, foot
Oh,
up,
I agree.
boot studs through the shin.
Yeah.
But it's not going to hurt him, is he? Just pushing him off.
You see,
It's like he's taking off a big coat.
I've got to tell
I
you,
think
I love all that.
Flores should have had a yellow for the challenge,
Well,
and
either-
he should have had another yellow for the acting. It was a judo
Shows
party out there.
commitment. Was
it
it a
was
judo-
a
was it a
party,
judo
yeah. He
party?
threw it, he flipped him off his shoulder like
Who
a
was it
judo
who said
move.
that? Do your
That was
voice.
Wenger.
Go on,
It was
do it.
like a judo party.
Oh man, do you know what somebody thought about Arsene Wenger the other day?
Well,
Well, if you had to, if you knew you were going to leave this earth, you were shuffling off this mortal coil.
yes.
And you wanted someone to look after everything you had,
all your affairs.
all your affairs and everything, and you could trust them to hand it on to your children and make sure they got everything. You wouldn't look further than Arsene Wenger.
Yeah,
the man has
he-
got more integrity than anyone else
He
in football.
wouldn't spend any of your money.
They wouldn't know.
No, it's not necessary. I just keep it for your children.
That's very good, Gavin. Dermot Gallagher.
Yeah, Dermot Gallagher came out with an amazing story this week about Sir Alex Ferguson. He says he was at a game, I think it was in '96, and Man U were about to win the league that year. I think it was that year. And he said it was chucking it down with rain in a game that was coming up. And Fergie pulled me aside and said, "Do me a favour, call the game off."
Yeah, I love this.
And
Go
he
on.
said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, there's nowhere else." He said it to him. He said, "There's nowhere else to fit this game in, and the Premier League will have to extend the season. We'll have a better chance of winning the match, and we'll be able to win the league at Old Trafford. So it'll be nice and convenient."
See,
Gav, listen, after the show, I'm going to go down the pub, have a couple of drinks, yeah?
Yeah.
Could you take that jacket back to my house?
And the dog, yeah?
And the dog, because otherwise I can't go directly to football because I've still got the dog.
Right.
And then, so if I just stick
Shall
you
I
in
pick the
cab-
tickets up for you
Yeah,
as well?
you can pick the season tickets up. They're in the kitchen drawer because
Okay.
that'd just work out a lot better for me.
It's all better for you.
It's just much better for me. Is
I
that
love
all
the
right?
way he just said it. Instead of just saying, "Look, this it's unplayable,"
Oh, I know, it's unbelievable.
he just said,
It's unbelievable. But I am actually slightly
know,
lumbered with the dog, and I haven't
this-
got the season tickets, and actually it's a bit of a problem.
what
James.
Fergie is, portrayed as doing there is what was at the root of the tension between Clough and Revie. Clough was a massive fan of Revie, and he said he went to see him.
He
very
hated
early.
him. He hated him.
No, he was really in awe of him.
No,
okay?
you're just being all
this-
No, he
this
only
is in-
fell out because
this
Revie
is in-
brushed him off.
This
didn't
is
he?
in the
Yeah.
best book about Clough, which is called like "Provided You Don't Kiss Me," and he said that Clough went to see Revie, and as he was going in, he watched this conversation between the referee in Revie's office at Ellen
Yeah.
Road, saying, "Was that okay, Don?"
Yeah.
He was the ref was being subservient to the
Yeah.
whole manager.
I think if you-
And
if
Clough
you-
realised that actually it was nothing about football, and that actually Revie was using off-pitch
Influence,
tactics. And
yeah.
now
No, his
they
side
all do
played
it all the
filthy
time.
football, though. That Leeds side
They
played
did
this.
not.
They were
They never
disgusting.
did.
You
What,
can
you mean
talk
at
Chelsea-
Leeds United?
At Leeds United, they were dirty.
We're on in a minute.
No, they were dirty. They were dirty.
We can't even go there. It's so
No,
dated.
do you know something? That was the only reason Clough used to wear that green goalkeeper's top, wasn't it? It's because
Yeah.
Reevy was so superstitious about the colour green.
And I think he was right. I think we are cursed. Actually, you know what? This week you couldn't make the meeting because it was difficult to get hold of.
What meeting?
There was a meeting about jingles, and I came in with Chambo and Steve, the
you?
producers.
Oh, yeah.
And Ralph Innocent came in as well, who's also does all the...
Finchy,
does-
you know.
Yeah, remember the
Oh,
guy?
yeah.
He's a great actor.
He should have his own spin-off series, definitely, from The Office.
Yeah, but
definitely.
he's in. Ralph's a big character actor. He's in
Yeah.
all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But he does a lot of the voiceovers and the trailers for Talk Sport. So
Oh,
he's done a few special ones for you this week.
The warm-up. Non-stop drivel from a man who knows nought about Leeds United. Johnny Vaughan. Leeds United's biggest fan. Join Johnny Vaughan and support Leeds United.
Well done, Ralph.
I tell you what, though. What's the rugby show called again?
Full contact.
Full contact. Does he do the full contact one?
He should do, no.
He's not just full contact.
Play him again. Come
30
on.
men going at
Leeds
it
are-
with greased thighs,
Point to
scrum caps, powerful men
Stop
with large
changing the
caps.
subject.
No, I don't want any more.
Listen to these again. They're great,
No,
Ralph.
don't listen again.
It's
It's
a
The
big-
warm-up. Non-stop drivel from a man who knows now
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. It's just ridiculous. It's so gratuitous. The warm-up in association with Leeds United. Go on, you lily whites. Go on, you lily whites.
Talk Sport. On air, online and on TV at Sky Channel 0108.
Sorry, we just had we had this wench on the bench thing at the end, and James has just come up with a suggestion.
Excuse me, shall we move along to these footballers?
Absolutely
you can
ridiculous. He
wear?
doesn't want his missus to know about this, but James has moved on a suggestion that each week, because it's radio.
It's not my
He says it's
suggestion.
great.
It's your
He says
suggestion.
because it's
Don't
radio.
frame
He
me
says
with your
we can have a
perversions.
topless woman doing the sport.
No, I did not.
It's a bit
Great
outdated as
radio,
a concept.
James. Great radio, James.
If you lived, at least I didn't say that.
Okay, guys, there's a couple of things that I've got to get rid of. I've got to get off my chest, just because it's housekeeping time. We've still got the second texter for you, which is a result of James being
We
outed.
didn't tell the story.
We haven't told the story.
haven't set it up.
We will when we get time. First of all, though, we're going to go to Sudeley AFC to speak to the chairman, Ian Marfell. Just to fill in on the story so far, Wild Boars have caused havoc at the home ground of a non-league football club by tearing up the pitch twice in the space of 1 week. That side is Sudeley AFC, and we're now going to speak to our friend to the show. Give it up, please, for Ian Marfell.
Hi, Ian.
Morning, Ian.
chaps. Morning, how you doing?
Not too bad, Ian. What's the latest then?
Well, the
'Cause
latest-
yeah, go on.
Oh, there isn't much to update with once again, really. The boar, we've contained the boar. They haven't managed to get back in.
Haven't they? How did you contain them? What'd you do?
Well, as you well know, with our fence.
I know, but the fence didn't do it before, so what's different about this fence? Is it like the super fence?
Oh, it must be the super fence that's worked. Now the boar haven't got on there. We've just been defeated by the weather week in, week out now, which is a nuisance.
Is it flooded?
Yeah, it's waterlogged. We then do a pitch inspection this morning for the home game today. Me and Popey, the vice chairman, and the water was coming up over your willows.
Ian, we saw...
Boars can't swim.
They can. Do you know that as a fact, James?
I know that boars cannot swim.
Can I just say that's a great T-shirt to have? It's a great T-shirt, isn't it? Boars can't swim.
Ian, we saw the photo.
Think
I've got it
first.
tattoos on my legs.
Think first. Boars can't swim.
We saw the photo of the damage. You stuck it on a website for us. It
Yeah,
looked
sorry, yeah.
amazing. It looked like someone had taken a spade to the pitch,
Yeah.
and lifted all the turf.
Well, yeah, you can see how vast the damage was, and there was a few areas like that, and they're not just that one. So it was pretty bad.
Are you sure they're just doing that with their snouts?
And their hooves.
And their hooves. But the thing is, how do they dig then so deep just using the snout? I don't...
Have they got
have
tusks?
Have you seen them in action?
I've seen them, but I haven't actually seen them digging up. I've seen them like running through the woods and things.
Ian, can you get insurance against the revenues for a match not occurring? Can you insure your club against loss of revenues for things like that?
No, I don't think you can for.
You want to
for
try
things.
that, mate? You could be rolling in it.
Yeah. Ian, here's another question for you. You've built this new fence, yeah? And are you confident that's going to keep the little blighters out?
Yeah, we are confident because, like I said, they've kept out ever since. And if they was going to come back, they would have come back within a few weeks after that. So we're hopeful that it will do the job.
And what is on the pitch that isn't outside the pitch? What appeals to them about the pitch?
Well, I think because when they got on there, as I said before, it was very soft. Because
Oh, right,
the weather
okay.
we had before, so it was easy for them to get underneath it.
Soft ground, lots of worms.
Are they just looking for worms?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
yeah, go on.
Have you seen them sort of going round the fence a bit like Steve McQueen looking for an opening in the Great
Casing it.
Escape? In the Great Escape, when he can't quite find the right gap. But I mean, have you seen them casing the ground ever?
No, I never seen them around the fences, but you can see where they've been. So they do rip up a lot of turf around the edges. It's quite cut up around the outskirts of the ground, you know.
Okay, are you allowed to kill them?
Personally, I don't think I am. No.
No, but are they protected or something?
Well, there's been a massive debate around these parts lately about the boar, whether they should have a culling or not, and there's a lot of people for and a lot of people against. So it's quite big news around there at the moment.
Are you pro-culling?
Sorry for me to say, really. I think
Come off the fence. Come off the new anti-boar-proof fence.
I don't mind the boar being around in the woods. That's fair enough. You know, they're wild. They should stay in the woods. But like I said, you wouldn't want one on your lawn for 10 minutes.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
You couldn't just say snouts for us, could you?
Snouts.
Hey! My last question was, how's the ground? How's the ground? They also attacked another football club nearby, didn't they? What are they going through? Do you know?
Well, they haven't had any contact with them. I think they've been okay, but like the rest of the teams around there, so many games been called off lately because of the weather. I think they've probably had time to recover the pitch a bit, you know?
Okay. And the date was late January you gave us last time when you're back. Are you back and playing now, yeah?
Well, we were supposed to have both been playing today, but it's all been called off again because of the rain. We was attempting to play a home game today, but because of the weather, it's underwater anyway, a lot of the pitch, but the areas that have been reworked, they would have just been destroyed if we had played on there today.
Are the second team doing better than the first team still, Ian?
Well, I always go with that one because at the same time, I'm the second team manager at the same time. So.
Right.
Ian, has your club done something really, really bad? Because you've been hit by plague of boars, then plague of rain, flooding.
It's going to be frogs next.
Locusts.
Yeah.
It'll be something else biblical, I expect, yeah.
Plague. All right, listen, Ian, thank you very much. Do keep us up to date if they come back. But we've met Sudeley AFC chairman Ian Marfell,
Thanks,
ladies
Ian.
and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
The warm-up on TalkSport with Capital One, the credit card that supports the supporters.
Let's have a learning minute about Manchester City. Formed in 1880 as St Mark's, they became Ardwick Association Football Club in 1887 before finally settling with Manchester City in 1984. That can't be right. Currently managed by Manuel Pellegrini, they lie second in the Premier League, and their key players so far this season have been Sergio Aguero and Alvaro Negredo. Are you listening, boys? Because I'm going to test you afterwards.
Yep.
Since 2003, the club's home ground is the City of Manchester Stadium, where the average attendance is 47,107. The club has three nicknames to choose from: City, the Citizens and the Sky Blues. And the club badge bears the motto Superbia in Proelio, which translates as Pride in Battle. And that is Manchester City in a minute. That was the warm-up podcast in association with Capital One, the credit card that supports the supporters. Oh, it wasn't that bad, was it?
That was great.
Good show.
Also, we had the Stowley AFC boys with the pig.
Yeah, the old boar.
Sudeley, yeah.
Yeah, Sudeley, yeah. I like that lot.
The old boar. Yeah, the thing is, though, we've got to move that story on.
Well,
We've
what
got to
can I
get
do?
down there and smash his pitch up. Or, even better, let's smash a big hole in the back of the pavilion, boar-sized. So it looks like the boars have gone on a
Like a
rampage in the
cartoon
clubhouse.
cut out of a boar.
Well, so
shape.
what we should do is get a piece of reinforced steel shaped like a boar and put it on the front of a car and then just start driving into things and through things to leave a boar-shaped hole there. Right, listen, hope you enjoyed the podcast. We're back next week with more of the same. Thank you very much indeed for downloading, listening and just being warmed up. Welcome to the warm-up podcast. I'm Johnny Vaughan.
I'm Gavin Woods.
I'm James Brown.
Cracking show today, lads.
It was, very
With the
lively.
lovely Laurie McMenemy.
Yeah,
Wasn't
great
it?
guest.
Big lol, great guest.
Brilliant.
Do you think we got too serious? There was times when I thought to myself, do you know what, this is almost sounding like content's
Yeah,
crept
but we
in
wanted
here.
to hear it from him, didn't we?
Yeah, but also, you know what? Because we kept going with him, he came out with that fantastic story about getting the police to stop Mick
That's
Mills.
I know,
Unbelievable.
unbelievable, isn't it?
That.
It's got to be in a biography though somewhere. We'll find out. That's an old
It's
Laurie
a great
McMenemy
story,
story.
yeah.
Do you know what's just happened?
What?
And you might want to text in about this week on our non-award-winning podcast. James has opened a packet of cheese and onion crisps. That's not a surprise in itself. What was a surprise is there was some left for us, and that was quite a result.
And he didn't grab the bottom of the bag when you went to take
I
one.
always do it with Maltesers. But you know what? What's weird is that I'd never buy cheese and onion myself. It's like I'd never buy roast chicken flavoured crisps, or any other flavoured crisps. Why is it? If you just have a few other people's, you think, these aren't bad.
Because you're only just getting one taste.
I do. I love salt and
When
vinegar.
we get rounds in, yours is a bag of crisps.
I like a bag of crisps, yeah. But I think sometimes in the newspapers that instead of having star signs, they should do it by your crisp flavour. A bad week for salt and vinegar people this week.
Prawn cocktails.
Yeah, prawn cocktails. Like the prawn, you are easily distracted. Gav, what were your particular high points?
Lorry.
No, we've already had Laurie. My name's Gav, I like to party. I've already said that. Go on.
High points? Yeah, me blowing out my nose as we do the scores.
Why is... OK, if you listen
Your
to...
Gus Poyet impression.
Yeah, the Gus Poyet was good.
That sounded like you spent a lot of time
Señor,
working
no más, por favor.
When you get the information, feed them to the pigs.
No, señor, por favor, no más.
Turn it up to 250 volts.
Hey, you know what? I was in Argentina once, many years ago.
What's it like?
Beautiful place, lots of nice people.
Good steak?
I didn't eat meat then.
Lovely dancing.
Didn't you?
No.
Were you vegetarian for a
Let
bit?
me tell you the story, right, because I thought I'll get a massage. I went down into the...
Went
went down into the
massage,
hotel spa,
Yeah.
and they basically put me in a long, thin concrete room, and from about 20 yards away, a bloke just fired a fire hose at me.
No!
Yeah, and he said, turn round, I had to turn round. It was basically like the biggest water jet you've ever had, and as he was doing it, I was thinking, this has got to be some remnant of, like, when it was a dictatorship.
Yeah, you were being treated like a rioting crowd. Yeah.
Did he look like Gus Poyet?
Did he have a massive cap on?
Yeah, Spa Poyet.
With a huge brim.
You don't get that at Champneys.
You don't get that at Champneys. Listen, we're going to have a podcast for you now. Enjoy.
The Walnut's alive!
Good morning, welcome to the warm-up. In association with Capital One, with me, Johnny Vaughan. Talking of Capital One, we do have two tickets for the Capital One final to give away on the show today. Instructions coming up. It is the day when Jose Mourinho has branded Arsene Wenger a specialist in failure. That's specialist in failure.
What a lovely thing to say.
I'm
so glad he didn't make it personal.
But do you know what I'm glad about? Isn't it nice to have? Isn't it nice to have someone fill the expansive gap left by Sir Alex?
Yeah,
isn't it? Though? That's what he's become. It's just what you've got to do if you want to be the alpha dog. Just be sort of nasty.
He's such a warm man.
Well, the first thing you've got to do is wind up Wenger, like Alex did. So that's all he's done. Anyway, this is after the Arsenal boss said that the special one was scared to fail. I think his gamesmanship over. I don't see Chelsea being people. I think it's just gamesmanship. It's such an obvious kind of gambit.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're not a small milk denied horse.
Yeah, don't forget how deluded Mourinho is.
Lads.
Yeah, let's not bash
Delusion.
Mourinho.
Wait a second. The listeners don't know who you are yet. I haven't introduced you.
Good point.
Just back off a second. And Sunderland.
How dare you butt in, Gavin?
Yes.
No, I'm just saying. Wait, I haven't said who you are. They don't know yet. They haven't been introduced. They haven't been formally introduced. Sunderland manager Gus Poyet claims he would rather lose today's FA Cup clash against Southampton than face a replay. Presumably that's while he had some electrodes attached to some suspect's nipples in a South American torture chamber as he went. You tell us where she is. I know. Are you the communist? I know. I think you're a communist. No, please, senor. He just looks like you could just see him in a huge hat, can't you? Though. Por favor, sí. No. Where have you got her kidnapped? I know nothing, senor. Manuel, turn it up. I want you to give her more voltage. And we find out where the communist militia are. Por favor, senor. I know. Gav, you're going to scream a bit there. Anyway, that's Gus's style of management. That game live on TalkSport at 12:45. Everybody, it's a bumper day of FA Cup football here on TalkSport. Cardiff versus Wigan. Man City. Do you know what Man City fans love to say?
What?
Their favourite phrases?
What?
What happens, right? And naturally, they blame City fans. They're always talking about, of course they're going to blame City fans. City. Anyway, warming up alongside me, the Wizard. You've already heard them speak. They haven't been formally introduced. but the whistleblower and the man with the definitive word on referees and more. Ladies and gentlemen, the Woodman, Gavin Woods, and Principal James Brown.
Morning, Johnny. Morning, James.
Morning, lads.
Had you been working up that Poirier sketch?
No, just a
You just see him as a Death Squad torturer.
It's just his eyes.
It's in his eyes.
I can see him as the guy who sort of comes back every hour just to check up how the cruelty's going. Because, or I can see him sort of, you know, occasionally in the old days, he used to go along to those before the cash point era. You used to have to go along to Spanish Bureau de Change. Bureau de Cambio.
Yeah.
You used to have to go to the Bureau de Cambio.
Money laundering.
And you get those guys, and they've just got they used to have 12 notes in a drawer.
Just next to them, yeah.
And a fan. And they sort of be really, really precise and have just a really slick way of counting the money out. And he's look reluctant to get like it was their money. I'll give you some money. Oh, what's that?
What was that?
Is that a move on bell? Where did that bell come from? It must have been someone's text or something.
I think it must have been.
It must have been. Phones off.
Is it when you mention money?
It could be. First thing I want to talk about is, I just want to say well done to the Russians for this spectacular Winter Olympics. I've really been enjoying it. Not just the gliding gusset on show in the figure skating, which my father came down with his partner, Steve. No, I'm kidding. My father came down with his partner, Jenny, and he was sitting there
Johnny.
watching it. Jenny, yeah. And I was sitting there, and I was watching it with him, and I cast my mind back to when I was a kid. And, you know, figure skating was on. Because, of course, there was no Babe Station back then.
No, you had Pans People and figure skating.
That was it, really, wasn't it?
Top of the Pops album covers.
And the way they did, the commentators will go...
I don't know about you two, we had girls in Leeds.
Okay. On telly?
What, real one?
No, in real life, out in the street.
I don't know what you are talking about, because in Leeds there are females, and they are ripe for plucking. In Leeds... Sorry, I won't go on about Leeds United. I've had a few complaints about that, actually.
No, the
It's
opposite.
a listening hotspot, isn't it?
It's the most listened to area of Britain, our show. Leeds.
Johnny, the reason so many people in Leeds listen to TalkSport and your show is it's become a hotbed of hatred. And love.
Johnny Vaughan and support Leeds United.
Shut up! Anyway, the point is...
You know what, as well? Sorry to interrupt you,
go.
Tuesday went to see Leeds Brighton, and Ralph Innocent, Finchy from the office,
Yeah.
and I bumped into him. He said, "James, I'll do you one of them a week if you want."
Okay, that'd be nice. I really think if you are Ricky Gervais or Stephen Merchant and you're out there, please do a spin-off series for Finchy, like a sort of Rake's Progress.
I don't think they liked it that Finchy was so popular.
I wouldn't think they did. But do you know what I'd like? I'd like it if he was as well.
He was brilliant,
No,
wasn't
if he was a salesman, but also a serial killer, and he killed all rival salesmen. It was like a sin, but he did it really cheerily.
Yeah. with gusto.
Yeah, with gusto. He won't be. He's selling something like industrial ceramic tiles. Repping those. Anyway, I think he'd be just quite good at it. Right. Congratulations to the Russians. I've been enjoying the Olympics immensely. There is a wonderful spirit of sort of amateurishness. I mean, we've got Lizzie Yarnold. Congratulations. She's got gold medal in the skeleton bob. She's only been doing it 4 years.
That's great, isn't it?
And there's something sort of, there's just something
It
a bit...
gives hope to all amateurs, doesn't it?
Yes, because you're not seeing the best people in the world doing it. They're just the best people who've had a go.
No, they're the people who've had the most time to do it.
Yeah, exactly right.
But where does she do it? Because
she's a farmer's lass.
No, but they don't have any tracks, do they?
I don't know what they've got in our farm, but evidently she's got practice.
They haven't got a long winding track of ice in Exeter, wherever she's from.
You don't know this for sure,
You don't
James.
know that. You don't know. At this stage, we don't know, James.
No,
we don't know what she's
We
done.
can't possibly know.
We don't know. We don't know.
What do you think? She's got a secret cramp. She's got a secret camp she's been training.
Yeah. With like a big
underground.
You could be, yeah.
In an old mine.
Yeah.
That's what Scooby-Doo said.
Excellent.
It's the whole plot was based around
Mr. Clancy.
The whole plot was based around keeping the mystery machine and Scooby-Doo and the rest of them away, so she could practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good plan.
I tell what gets me about Scooby-Doo. Sorry, just to talk before we go to the break. Because I'm going to do more about the Olympics. What slightly gets me is that, essentially, I mean, if you have the fact that Scooby is a dog, there's 3 humans, and they just let Shaggy just go off on his own with a dog. That's all he gets. It's quite scary.
He says,
right, the 3 of us will go. Shaggy, you date the dog.
Come on, Scoob.
Yeah. Zoinks.
Yeah.
It's shocking. Anyway, It's a silly point, I know.
It is.
I met the bloke who played Shaggy at Stamford Bridge.
Did you?
Well, Ranieri's last game. It was against Leeds. You won 1-0.
Well, you met the guy who did the voice?
No, the bloke who played Shaggy in the film.
Oh, right, I thought you meant the guy who did the
film.
voice. Okay,
the guy who did the voice was that pop music presenter, wasn't it?
Casey Kasem.
Casey Kasem.
Yeah, it was Casey Kasem.
Yeah.
Keep your feet on the ground, but keep reaching for the stars.
That's right.
Thanks for writing in. He says, what family band had the most number ones?
That's right.
The answer is the Osmonds. They charted in 1970. Sorry. It's 10:44, right here on TalkSport. We've still got more to do about the Winter Olympics, including considering the sort of the talk about Putin's attitudes to homosexuality. I mean, you've only got to look at the doubles luge, men. I mean, that's a sport you wonder about. There. Two lads in those tight suits lying on top of each other, going down there. That's all right. No, let me go underneath. No, you go on top. You go on top. I'll go underneath.
Can you do
full contact?
Can you do full contact in Russian?
Full contact, the men's doubles luge. I'll go underneath. This is TalkSport. We're back in a second.
Well, it's a big show.
Yes, indeed. He's one of my favourite humans. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the warm-up, Laurie McManamy. Morning, Big Law.
Morning, Johnny. Morning.
How are you? You good?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I've been enjoying listening to the last 10 minutes with all those Geordie impressions of Gus Poyet.
Oh, very good, Noel. Very, very good. So I worked with your son quite recently. He was on cracking for. He's a good lad. Sorry, I shouldn't really say, but he's a very good lad. He's
Shawnee, he's a good lad. Yeah.
He's very funny. And he's got that. Well, anyway, let's crack on. Just share family memories of what a good bloke your son is. Okay, what was your pre-match warm-up for Southampton building up towards that FA Cup final with Manchester United in 1976? It's one of those football days. I was 10 years old, but I remember it so clearly, particularly because Peter Osgood was there as well.
Ozzy Blessom was a star in the team. I think that was one of the secrets, and really, John, looking back, that I had people like, Mike Channon was a current international, but people like Peter Osgood, Peter Rodrigues, who captained Wales in his early days, Jimmy McCalliog, who played there for Scotland. I don't think players at that level had ever thought they would be back at Wembley.
Yeah.
And I think it was a mixture of old heads like them and younger legs, and I think the light went on. The light went back on for those lads, and when they came out at Wembley and their experience told, it was a fantastic day for everybody.
How would you sort of put a bit of magic back in the cup? And when do you see the sort of, not the decline happen, but when it sort of lost a bit of its gloss?
It lost it when the top 4 teams went in the Champions League, and the bigger clubs took their eye off the FA Cup, because in our day there was only one team, the top of the league, got into that thing, and so they wanted to win something like the FA Cup to get into Europe. Simple as that. I mean, we won in the Cup Winners' Cup. You still do get into Europe, obviously, if you win the FA Cup, but it's not the big one. It's not where all the big money is, and that's where, sadly, the big lads want to be. But I do think that the Cup has still got the magic for the supporters. It's still viewed all around the world. It's still the major cup competition, because in other countries sometimes there's hardly anybody in the ground when it plays.
They don't care about it. I think Juventus, one of their Italian cup games, that they had, I think they had 800 people.
That's right.
Really?
That's right.
800
Yeah,
people.
and with so many foreign owners, foreign managers and that over here, I think it was Fulham recently made 11 changes, from the previous league game for their FA Cup game. Man City even made 6 changes, but having said that, they've got a fantastically big squad. And I think that's the other difference. I mean, that team you're on about, Johnny, my cup squad was only 13 lads in it from start to finish.
Wow.
And,
that's more like
they probably played all the league games as well, and that's the way it was, and a lot different now.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first went to an FA Cup in 1994, FA Cup final in 1994, and obviously Chelsea hadn't won it since 1970. I remember during a bite with me, I remember standing there, I filled up. I was thinking, I can't believe I'm here. Like all my life, I've watched this on telly, and now I'm here. And then we won it in '97, and at the time, it was such a big thing. It meant literally the highway code went out the window. We were just driving around through Chelsea, sitting on the roof of a van. Yeah. There's no health and safety. It's it's different.
It was
it's FA Cup rules. You can do what you like.
I mean, the mail used to come in sacks, literally, to the old Dell, for weeks afterwards. And I mean, I've still got, would you believe, a javelin, which was sent in from New Zealand.
Was that thrown in or
well,
delivered?
It landed, yes. And I mean,
it was actually a projectile thrown by a Portsmouth
fan. Listen to this one, a boomerang.
A boomerang
which came in from Australia. Seriously, I've still got them.
Did you send it back?
No,
must have been really badly thrown.
No, it's things like that, which it reminded us how people, and I think it was shown in every country in the world, sometimes recorded, a week or two later, but when you think that supporters are getting up in the middle of the night across in Australia and New Zealand to watch their teams, it's fantastic.
Okay, look, Laurie, how did you... Sorry, James, you've got a question.
Yeah, Laurie, just moving on to the... how did the FA Cup win compared to when you were hired to help be the assistant England manager?
Yeah. Well, I think every manager... Brian Clough, bless him, was a big pal of mine. Bobby Robson and me, we came through together, the three of us, and we used to talk a lot about it. Clough, he wanted to win the FA Cup more than anything. He won everything else, the League Cup. I mean, he beat me in the League Cup final. He won that about 4 times, I think.
Yeah.
And he did fantastic, really well in Europe. But the FA Cup was the big one, and the players, the managers, and all of that wanted that. But international level, of course, it was still the greatest honour for a player to be picked for his country. And I don't think that'll ever change. I think still, when they pull that shirt on...
Do you think they still feel that? I get the feeling these days that it's a bigger thing for an English player to be picked for a top Premiership club than to be picked for England.
Mm. Well,
it just feels... I don't know if that was part of the Sir Alex effect, but it just feels like it,
Well, I think the difference as well... You'll find with supporters now, I mean, every year since the 1966, since England won the only trophy they've ever won, incidentally, I think whenever a World Cup comes along, English supporters say, why aren't we winning it? We should win it. We should win it. I think this year, for the first time, realism will set in, and I think the supporter realises how much more difficult it is for the English team and Roy Hodgson, Because there's only 23% of English players playing in the Premiership.
Yeah, but Laurie,
so it's affecting the national team.
Do you not think that these days there's a different level in terms of how players are so pampered at their own clubs and the facilities they've got their own clubs? Now, obviously, England's got that great new facility; they can go there. But some of the time, I think these sort of qualification games where they're going to San Marino or they're going to the Faroe Islands, and they're suddenly going there. It's like putting on an England shirt to go and play on a little island somewhere, or playing at these lesser. They're not up for the games in quite the same way because they've got a bigger competition there.
I can see where you're coming from, but I mean, don't make any mistake. I mean, when people play for England, they are pampered.
Yeah.
Even in my day, I mean, I managed Northern Ireland as well, and I think if I wanted to go and watch a game somewhere, they had to have a board meeting first. With England,
are we going to get Laurie go to Cardiff?
Do they have like a whip round?
Yeah, but I mean, with England,
let's have a whip round for him if he wants to go and see Monaco. Well, let's just go and have a whip round there for Laurie.
Can we trust him in Poland?
Abe already put a score in there in the park.
Yeah, I got the hint when I got a one-way ticket, but never mind.
Look, is it true? I mean, I don't know if I should ask you this, but is it true you were once so angry with the player that he was having a shower and you actually stood there in the shower in your suit giving him a rollicking? That's true, isn't it?
It's nearly true, that one.
It was the player, Laurie.
No, it was to do with a bath, actually.
Okay,
the morning shower.
Go on.
We were having a bit of a jostle, and...
Who was having a jostle?
With the boots were sliding around on the marble, and he slipped backwards and he fell in the bath, but he put me halfway through. I'll tell you who it was, a lad called Mark Wright, who... it was a gingerhead, fiery lad, brilliant player. He came to me from Oxford, and I watched him go all the way to England. And nowadays, him and his wife are very involved in the fostering of children.
Oh, right, okay.
He's doing a good job. Yeah.
Okay, but was there never an occasion where you were actually standing in one shower that was on while you were rollicking a player in the next door shower and you were wearing a suit? Come on, I know it's true.
It's
so you must admit
exaggerated.
Yeah, I've still got the suit, actually. It's a bit smaller now.
Listen, Laurie, will you stay with us for a bit of a carryover? Because we've got a couple of questions to ask just for another couple of minutes. Are you busy?
Yeah, go on, I'm enjoying it.
Aye, get on, aye. You can do it. Right, listen, Big Law, we'll be back soon. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Big Laurie Momentum on the warm-up. Come on, back in a second.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The Warm-Up with Johnny Vaughan on Talk Sport.
You guys are at best mischievous.
Is disgusting.
Thanks.
That was the most horrible story I've ever heard.
A rugby player.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Anyway,
listen, they don't, you can't, no, Jet,
Wait, Laurie's on the phone waiting.
Laurie's on the phone waiting.
Sorry.
Hello there, it's 11:10. Welcome to the warm-up. Sorry about that, I just told a story there to the boys.
About a rugby player.
Dump that now. Okay, they can't anyway. Okay, we've got Big Laurie McMenemy on, and then we're going to get back to our warm-up agenda.
Fantastic.
We've got Back in Black still to come.
Yeah.
We've got loads of great stuff, but nothing is greater or bigger than Big Laurie McMenemy. Big Lol, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here, Johnny. Yeah.
Now, Big Lol, can I ask you, you were assistant manager during the Gaza era at England.
Yes, I was.
Is it, I mean, obviously you share a sort of similar accent. Did they bring you in really as a sort of Gaza wrangler?
No, I realised after a while I was there as an interpreter.
It's like a translator.
Did you have any luck?
The translator is a Gus or Sedley, you know.
Actually, we were both born in Gateshead.
Yeah, you're both from Gateshead, aren't
Yes.
you? So, I mean, did you understand, really? Do you think you understood him better? Because unlike a lot of players, he had vast amounts of money. He was obviously at Lazio, and yet he still was drinking in the sort of social clubs there, and he still very much was part of that community, wasn't he? He never really let it go.
I went over to watch him a couple of times in Lazio, and he never had anything in the house. I stayed with him in the house. Didn't have anything in the fridge, anything in the...
What do you mean by anything, like booze?
Well, the food, no.
Food.
No. I mean, he did like a drink, there's no doubt about that, but
Yeah.
He wasn't the only player in
I
those
don't
days.
think anyone would question that, Lol.
But we went out and we went to a restaurant, and I mean, he got a standing ovation when he walked in the door, and we had more waiters around
Just
the
getting
table.
in the door.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, well,
Just getting through
just
it.
for achieving that.
Yeah. No, I mean, lots and lots of stories have been told about Gaza, but effectively he was the most talented footballer he'd ever get, and a natural talent, and he could do things that other players found very difficult. He found it easier, and I think he missed the game so much that the decline he's been in since then is understandable in some ways.
Well, do you know what? He has a thing which, I mean, I call it Best's syndrome. And it's weird because it's shared by Maradona, it's shared by... It's almost as though when you've got that kind of talent...
Yeah, well, that was his life. I mean,
but he didn't. You know, there's some players, like, say, a Lineker, who haven't got as much talent as Gaza, so they work hard. But there's players like Gaza, and they take it for granted because they can just do it. It's nothing you can learn in training, and it almost doesn't. It's only match day that gives them gratification. It's not particularly training or anything. They've got two modes of behaviour: playing football and sort of waiting to play football. And that's kind of it.
Yeah, and because of that natural massive talent, they have loads and loads of people around them. A lot of them hangers on, and it's a bit like the old Rocky film. Once they come down off the peak, all of those people vanish.
Yeah.
And the support that he's always taken for granted isn't there, and the people that do sort of come in touch are a bit starstruck, and they just want to buy him a drink, and. That's what happened to George Best and everybody else, and it's sad. Very sad.
Laurie, can I ask you, what does it feel like to be the assistant manager of England during a match? Because a lot of managers say it's frustrating not being able to play. You know, what does it feel like having to not only not being able to play, but not having the final say on how you change the team?
Well, I mean, I essentially was manager of the under-21 team and the B team, which we had in those days, in which I think wouldn't be a bad thing to have back again, actually, for lads who were a bit too old to be under-21s, on the fringe of the A team. And we had, I think in my period, we had 8 games with the B team, and we never lost to one. But that wasn't important. That was like an opportunity to see what players could do. And I think it gave a lot of players an introduction to that level of football, and the manager could then see whether they could make the next step up. But it was... When you've been a manager, obviously, I mean, I managed for over 1,000 games altogether, so being with England is the pinnacle, obviously, but it's still the same mindset. You're still looking the team and the game as it is. And when you're number two, the number one is the man that makes the decisions. But a good partnership, you talk a lot in the build-up. And I mean, I would be with the under-21s till we would play the night before, and then I would join up with England. And I think it's good for the number one to have somebody who he can bounce off and he can talk to, and the fella can listen, and that's what I did. I supported him.
Laurie, 1,000 games you managed for. What are the ones that sort of strangely stand out? I know it sounds weird, but you have 1,000 games there. We all think like these radio shows. I mean, I've done 26 of these, but they've all sort of blurred into one. No, I'm not being funny. There's none that stand out.
No, it's the same sort of thing. It's called the Hall of Fame, isn't it? And I think Joe Royle, I heard him recently. I think it was on your programme and on Talk Sport somewhere. And Joe mentioned how proud he was to be in that. I think there's only about 19 managers who are in that over 1,000 game Hall of Fame. And there are funny enough games. I mean, obviously a cup final stands out. League Cup final when we got there and lost against Cloughie.
But what moments, Laurie? What I'm talking about is just moments when you're on the bench and something's gone exactly according to plan, and when you really, like, your players have pulled it out and someone's done something remarkable. What are those magic? What can you pick out as being a moment when you just looked and thought, football's just great?
We played a game, would you believe it, Notts County. It was at the end of the season. I think it was a game which had been postponed earlier, and it was stuck in at the end in those days. Nowadays, you've all got to finish on the same day. Yeah. And we were going into that game, the mindset of everybody was, the season's over now, let's get on with holidays type of thing. We were going to finish 5th or 6th in the top flight. But I knew if we won that game, we could go into second position. Now, that was the highest that the club would ever have been in. And at half-time, I tore into the players because they were sloppy, we were losing, and it was as if, let's get this over with, you know. And I had a right pop, and I remember Mick Mills,
he was a great player,
who had signed and stopped him on the motorway. He was on his way up to Sunderland, of all places, would you believe, from Ipswich. I got a policeman to stop him and turn him round and send him back to me.
That is brilliant.
And he signed for us, and then when I stopped for breath at half-time, he said, what's the matter? He said, come on. And I said, I'll tell you what, it's all right for you, World Cup Willie. And I had it right go to him because he captained England, he'd been there. And between us, I think the effect that had on the rest of the team was like, I'll show you. And he went out, and we won the game, and we finished second in the league, 3 points behind Liverpool.
And it was just one of those afternoons.
And that was one of them that sticks in the mind.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you know something? I think some weeks I question, why do I love this so much? And I realise it's because it is what you want when you turn up at any ground is you want an unpredictable afternoon. You want an unpredictable. It's not like film where there's Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and you know the sort of movement.
Yeah, there's no
or
point
rugby where the points stack up. Although that is unpredictable.
I bet Mick Mills couldn't have predicted he was going to be apprehended by the police and ordered to go and sign for Southampton.
Yeah.
Laurie, how did you do that exactly? Did you?
John, we've got to go.
Oh,
Laurie, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and I hope many of our listeners have one of those great afternoons this afternoon, and we get a bit of the magic back in the FA Cup. Thank you so much.
Nice to talk to you, lads.
Really nice talking.
Brilliant.
Take care, thank you. Bye-bye.
Laurie, take care, matey. Right, that's Laurie
fantastic,
McManamy there. I was just saying about football. It is quite. It's just sometimes you just don't know when you're going to get one of those days. And I always think when I head off to the football, I always think to myself, this could be the day. This could be the one where you see that.
I always
goal.
think of the definition of hell for a fisherman.
Yeah.
Is where you go to what you think is heaven, and there's a lovely river there, and you cast your rod, and you catch a fish straight away, and then you catch another one. And then you catch another one.
Right.
That's not the point of fishing.
That's not the point, is it?
Yeah.
The point of fishing is getting away from your wife, going into Clapham Common at night, getting a 4-pack of Tennis
and having
Tea
a
Super,
moment of madness.
getting an 8-pack of Tennis Tea Super, getting just out of your tiny brain, staring at a float in a tent and kidding everyone you're actually doing a sport.
Anyway, that's enough about your week.
When you're not. You're just an alcoholic in a tent. All right, here we go. But everyone thinks you're a fisherman. Yeah. No, but I'm just saying, those days you leave the house and you just don't know when you're going to get that moment.
Yeah, you have to not know, otherwise it doesn't count.
It could be a run. It could be a ball.
Yeah.
It could just be that goal at the right time in the heartbreak minute.
You've been spoilt. Chelsea, you've been spoilt.
No.
You talk to most fans. They're not getting any of that.
You'll come to Leeds United, and I tell you this, you look at the crowd.
You get it in moments.
Most of them haven't even got shoes. It's 11:19. This is the warm-up.
They do take their shoes off.
I've got to go.
The warm-up's alive!
coaching naked with a dog's head.
You're kidding.
In each hand, yeah?
Yeah.
And he's lifted up, well, he's not like, he's just wearing a kilt, yeah?
Yeah.
He's lifted it up his kilt, he's gone, have some of that!
Oh, what, did you just leave?
Well, I don't know, I'm never going to want to Bob
That doesn't
Ballard's
sound like a
I'm never going to want Bob Ballard's New Year's Eve parties
That's
again.
horrible.
Because if that's how he says goodbye to his guests, frankly, it's not for me. Anyway, on the subject of Bob Ballard, and him not being here, and texts about that. Is he out in Sochi? Okay, I'm just saying, on the subject of texts about Bob Ballard and him not being here, yeah, would someone please send one?
Hey, Paul, Andy Wolklin is tweeted in. Paulo Ferre Rocha. Paulo
That's a
Ferre
good one.
Rocha.
That's very good. Oh, with this Rocher, you're spoiling us. Sorry.
There's another one, F and a Cocoa Pops.
Oh, that's a good
That's
one.
very good.
Steve Wilson says, Odem Chicken Wingy.
Nice.
That's nice.
And Neil Lennon Meringue.
Yeah, I quite like that.
Let him run fires. Not bad, not bad. All right, James, enough of the puns. I've had a nightmare Valentine Day yesterday. I got stuck in Leeds. I got stuck in Leeds on Thursday due to weather. So I travelled back on a coach. Do you know more people in Leeds own coaches and cars? Most people in Leeds, they see it as a family vehicle in Leeds.
Their own coach.
Their own coach, yeah, powered by chip fat.
And dripping.
No, I power my coach. My dad's got a brand new coach. It's brilliant. It can fit 54 members of our family and extended family. None of whom have shoes.
Anyway, for 16 hours to Brighton... Sorry, I'll start again. Got stuck in Leeds Thursday due to weather, so I travelled back on a coach for 16 hours to Brighton to go to my shop to collect the Valentine's card my girlfriend said she sent to me. I took a photo of me smiling it, holding it, and texted her. She replied, "Who's that from?" She is now not talking to me. That's Frank from Chili Shop in Brighton Arena. There we
Excellent.
go. Okay, it's time for... I wonder why Gavin want to attract my attention. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Do you want a quick Laurie Melanie text? No, I'm going to go straight in with Back in Black.
Back in Black!
Actually, James, I've got some great news from you.
Yeah.
I had an email from the marketing department at Brutus Jeans, and and because we texted in last week.
Given that every week you ask me what I'm wearing, where you can get it from. Yes, you do.
What? I know where you get it from.
Where'd you get that sweatshirt from? Where'd you get those jeans from?
No,
Can you get me some of those shoes?
I asked you once about some
No.
shoes, and it
Yes,
turns
we've-
out a mate of yours had given them.
The Vera's shoes, the Edwin jeans,
Oh, okay, fair enough. I just...
the J. Crew jumper.
I know,
You
I
want them
know.
all.
I know, because I tell you something, yeah?
You walk around like John Inman.
I do the same. I do the same when I meet clowns. I say, where'd you get those big shoes from? Anyway,
Got Back in Black's ready to
I
rock.
was just going to say that the marketing department of Brutus Jeans texted me, and they're now going to open their biggest ever store in Leeds because there's such demand from up there. Gav,
Still.
it's time for Back in Black. We're going to kick off with Yaya Toure.
Yeah, because we'll kick off with him because he kicked Ricky van Wolfswinkel.
Yeah.
Not very hard. It was quite unviolent. It was just a sort of quick, petulant thing. It was a bit like... It was about the same as the Beckham red against the Argentina when he kicked Simeone in the World Cup in '98.
You just tapped him with
Yeah,
a little
it was just
back
it was
heel.
just a little bit of petulance, and even the guy he kicked said, "Oh, he's glad that he wasn't banned," you know. So Van Wolfswinkel said he's happy it wasn't a ban because it wasn't very violent. However, Andy Carroll's still banned, so it's not consistent. And Mourinho was saying that with that incident, then he's saying that you should be able to do it. Anything you like, as long as the ref doesn't see it. Anything you like.
Do you know,
Well, he can talk. He poked that bloke in the eye.
With cancer.
Yeah, the guy who had cancer, he poked in the
Tito
eye.
Villanova, yeah, he did.
Can I say, though, this idea, I find it abhorrent, this idea that you should be able to do what you like as long as you don't get caught. Wait a second.
Yeah.
It's not...
Because you got caught.
It's not only a crime if you get caught.
That's right. The tree does make a noise when it falls
Exactly
over in
right.
the woods.
If John Terry fouls someone in the Amazon jungle and there's no referee to see it, is it still a foul?
I thought,
yes, it is.
They always do this thing where if the ref doesn't see it, they go to an appeal for a board to examine it, and they decided it wasn't that violent. But I always think, why can't they have the fourth official look at it during the game, and then tell the ref, actually, you got that wrong, he kicked someone, he's got to go
Problem
off.
is, there's just too many rules.
Well,
There's too many rules, and the lack of contact with... It's
No, you're just being
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Let's
No,
move
but
on.
it just
Anyway.
it stops you playing football.
There's too many rules.
There are too many
No,
rules.
that's rugby. rugby there's too many rules. I think football, maybe...
They blow up too often and too easy. It's rubbish.
No, it's inconsistent, because you sometimes
That's the problem, it's inconsistent.
You sometimes get those referees who let them play.
That's
you see right from the start the referee's going to allow that level of challenge, and it's quite nice.
Well, that World Cup ref was always going to send Beckham off for that little kick.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Premier League,
because it was petulant.
They've decided it wasn't.
But it's also you get those things from FIFA where FIFA have decided that anyone who moves within any player they're stamping down on people smiling.
Yes, right.
If you smile after a goal for too long, you will be sent off.
Exactly.
Okay. We now want the Spanish ref.
Yeah, Diego Ifran. There's been a drama in Spain.
Oh God! No, not the Gypsy Kings. Not the Gypsy Kings. Seriously, I've worked in Covent Garden in a shop.
They're from Birmingham, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're from France, actually.
They're from Marseille.
They pretended they were from France.
Well, anyway, that's not.
I hate the Gypsy Kings.
A player from Real Sociedad called Diego Ifran has actually said he was quoted on Twitter this week. He was speaking about Real Madrid and Barcelona getting all the favours from the refs because a player, Inigo Martinez, was sent off for protesting that his side should have got a pen. So the refs sent him off for protesting.
Nice.
I mean, how annoying would that be? That's really
annoying.
His quote, he says, "¿Qué es miedo? Is it fear?
Yeah.
Están obligados. Are they put up to it? Están comprados.
Yeah.
Are they bought?
It's like a spaghetti western.
Son hinchas. Are they fans?
Yeah.
He's worried about so much about it. No entiendo. I don't understand it. So he's openly questioning their integrity, which is a first from a player. The second item in Spain, a football fan has been arrested on an animal cruelty charge for throwing a dog at a referee.
We've all felt like doing it.
Now, the weird thing about this is he didn't throw his own dog. No. It's a bit like Baxter, right? On Anchorman.
A whole wheel of cheese.
A bit
like
Baxter. He grabbed it. He was having an argument with the ref. The ref came over to the sideline to argue with him, and he grabbed the dog from a neighbouring fan and threw someone else's dog.
Are you allowed to take dogs into games?
Not Barros. In Almeria, you can. It's a lower league game. Yeah, it was just a small ground.
Okay, fair enough.
But imagine your dog, someone grabbing your dog,
well, especially when where they stuck the Chelsea fans when we played Barcelona. That'd be awesome. That would be like Baxter.
Football would be better if there were more dogs on the pitch chasing the ball whilst you're trying to play like when you were a kid.
Or squirrels.
Exactly. Yeah. That squirrel on the pitch was awesome. Yeah. Anything else, Gav?
No, that's it. The only thing I want to leave us with is a little tribute to Flores, because he scored this week after having rolled around like a lady last week.
I
thought we were like a lady.
You can't say that anymore in football.
Yeah, you can.
Liverpool have banned it.
And this is our tribute to him.
Have you produced something up here, Gav? Great tune, man. I love this. She's a lady.
She's so exciting.
And it's a great tune. Excellent choice. I wish we kicked off the next
Something about refs, John.
James, you have your hand up.
Something about refs. They don't let you ref a game if it's the team you support.
No, that's correct, yeah.
But what happens if you support Spurs
and you're refereeing a game for
Arsenal?
It's so impossible. There's only 18 refs in the select group of referees. There should be 25 or 30 because it waters down that factor.
Yeah, but James is it's a good argument, James. It's a good hypothetical question.
But it's impossible to avoid.
Well, no. I'll tell you what, it is impossible. It is very possible to avoid because how many referees come from the South, Gav, at the moment?
None.
Good morning, welcome to the warm-up in association with Capital One. Very big thanks to them for all the support. And this is the day when Jose Mourinho has branded Arsene Wenger as specialist in failure. After the Arsenal boss said that the special one was scared to fail, Sunderland manager Gus Poyet, feed it to the pigs, claims that he would rather lose today's FA Cup clash against Southampton than face a replay. He then electrocuted the suspect with a car battery.
The suspect
that they took in a black Citroen at 4 in the morning.
You know when managers finish a game and they're supposed to shake hands.
Yeah.
I was reading a guy called Andrew Mangan's, my favourite blogger on Arsenal.
Yeah.
And he said, wouldn't it be great if you had a real grudge match against another manager, and if you'd won,
Yeah.
and you go to do the handshake, and you just wear one of those joke buzzers on your hand. Bzzzt.
No, never mind that. You just tasered them.
Yeah.
No one would expect that. I always just think it's one of those things. It'd be great to hear once, just once in your life, in a football game, and the commentator, and things are getting a bit rough in the thing, and suddenly you hear the commentator go, "He's got a knife!" And suddenly everyone's just looking around.
He's got a knife.
No, but he's throwing it from hand to hand like the Jets in West Side Story. You go, come on, who wants it? And all the players are sort of gathering around and we go, back off.
What,
And
doing dance moves?
And it's a really odd scene.
Like the news team fight in Anchorman.
Yes.
yes.
And everyone starts doing that.
I think I killed a guy.
Yes, Brick killed a guy. Yeah, well, that really went up a notch. I did, with a trident. No, let's not get into Anchorman quotes. We'll be here all day. We've already had Baxter in there. James, what do you got for us?
Keith Allen, the Keith Allen, has got in touch and said...
I don't have many heroes, but he's one.
Yeah.
Doug Livermore.
Yeah, good.
Nice.
Spare Ribery.
Nice.
Good.
Nice. Very, very good.
Pinko Fowler says Pesto Bonetti.
Oh, it's beautiful. Do you know, Keith Allen was, I think, everyone thinks he was an actor, but it was about the greatest ever stand-up I've ever seen. Ever.
I've never seen him do
Did you see him do his...
Miners' Benefit?
Yeah.
When he went on with that?
Yeah.
Awesome. No, he's people don't realise it. He was the greatest, he was the funniest man you've ever seen possess a stage. And he also wrote, along with Danny Peacock, the greatest ever 50 minutes in the history of British television comedy, which was The Yob.
The Yob.
Which culturally, it's so rare. Normally, if people are like that, they get slagged off because they're a bit ahead of the game. But he hit it exactly right. And considering he must have written it a year before that.
Do you remember the advert?
It was amazing.
Do you remember the Yellow Pages advert?
Yeah.
Fly fishing, J.R. Hartley.
Yeah.
I bumped into Keith in a video shop in London once, so we got chatting a little bit, and after about 10 minutes of chat, he turned to the bloke and he said, yeah, anyway, I rang up, I've come to get the bull and the yob.
Yeah, really?
And I turned to him and I said, have you got Fly Fishing by J.R. Hartley as well? And he was going, no, it's not for me to watch, it's for, I'm showing it to someone.
Maybe a bird. But do you know what? The Yob, there's nothing better. I don't think there's been a greater 50 whatever it was minutes. Anyway, let's not have homage to Keith.
Yeah.
But he's a good lad.
We should get him on. He's a football fan.
Yeah.
He's a Fulham season ticket holder. And his dad was a player.
Exactly right, yeah.
And he wrote the lyrics to World in Motion.
He wrote the lyrics.
did.
And Vindaloo.
And I'm sure he would come on and talk about his warm-up.
In fact, it's all right to have homage to Keith.
It is, yeah. Was his dad Clive?
Anyway, but what I'm saying is, I think with someone like Keith and Danny, I think the government should lock them up together, and they're not allowed out until they've written another 50 minutes of comedy, because we haven't had a shot in the arm like that for long. They wrote the Yob. We haven't had a shot in the arm like that for a long time. It's 12:11. We've got very little time left on the show, but I think. Gav, you mustn't send me notes like that, suddenly.
I didn't send you that.
Did you send me that note?
No, I've had a note from
that
Pete.
was ages ago.
What does your note say?
Pete, this has appeared on my desk after the news has been read. It says, food-based footballers, pair flan hoydonk.
That's good.
Okay, a couple of weeks ago, I know we shouldn't go back over old ground, but I just really wanted to hear it again. We've got that Man United fan, by popular demand, backed by dope demand. We've got that Man United fan who called up after the Sunderland game, the penalty shootout, who called up 999 to speak to Sir Alex Ferguson. It's just
It's the best thing I've ever heard.
It's all wrong.
It's all wrong.
Here it is.
Yeah, could I speak to Sir Alex Ferguson, please?
Not by a 999 line, I'm afraid, no.
Sir Alex, the result is all wrong. They had extra time, and it was a total utter load of rubbish.
So you're actually on the 999 police line. Is there any crime you need to report to the police this evening?
Crime? Yeah, a crime, yeah. I'll report a crime. Yeah.
And what crime is that?
The crime is that Manchester United were absolutely knackered.
Please, I know it's like the Teletubbies, which is essentially what we are here, but in terms of sports comment, in terms of the sporting comment, but please, just a bit where he goes, it's all wrong. Please.
Yeah, could I speak to Sir Alex Ferguson, please?
Not by a 999
Please,
no.
please.
Sir Alex, the result is all wrong.
That's it. And so I tell you something, if you have win or lose today, yeah, but if you have a bad result, and you're feeling down, just sit there, rolling your head around a bit, and just go, It's all wrong. Because I tell you what, it brought Gavin back to life last week. He said he was going home. He felt so miserable after the 5-1, and he was just sitting there. But he said he found comfort. He just started repeating to himself over and over again, "It's all wrong."
It's all
and he
wrong.
said it really brought him back. So use that as a mantra of comfort. It's like,
it's a way to kick football out of football.
Just keep going. Just go. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. And it'll really bring you
It
back.
should become a chant.
It should do. It should.
It should become a chant.
We got Alex.
Yeah.
He does it.
Please.
But please. Yeah. Hang on, can I speak to Alex Ferguson, please? This is now. Can I just say, the warm-up does not endorse making any phone calls to 999. 999 lines must be kept for emergencies only. It is irresponsible to do it. However, in this case, that one particularly was funny, and even the police released it. But
However
do not
much
ever
of a
call
crime.
Do not ever call 99 with any of those. It's not funny. That's just a one-off, and we do that as a warning. That was the warm-up podcast. Hope you enjoyed that. It is. Well, do you know what? They're trailing it now all day on TalkSport.
I noticed that. They've gone for it this week. I think it's because it's doing so well, Johnny.
But they're trailing our podcast.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about the podcast that makes it the biggest downloaded one on the station, James?
I think it's just the sheer quality.
Is it the great guests?
It's the lack of content dressed as content.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's the fact that we pack 2 minutes into 2 hours.
Exactly.
I think we give every listener the belief that they too could make a show like this.
We are the punk band of the radio.
If only they had a radio broadcasting equipment in their cars on the way to ground.
You're absolutely right, James. It's like the reason they say that EastEnders and all soaps are popular because people can watch it and just feel superior.
Yes.
Everyone knows you could just literally walk around Albert Square and go, no, he wasn't actually kissing her, he was just giving her a hug. Because they never get a chance to explain, do they?
Yeah.
Wait up!
Yeah, they always
And
do
then someone
that.
goes, hey, are you going to serve me some apples?
And they stretch it out for 3 days.
Yeah, for 3 days, yeah. Just when he's going to explain that he
That's
wasn't
right,
actually
yeah,
kissing
yeah.
her, he's giving her a hug, someone goes,
Never happens
excuse
in
me,
real life,
I've been
yeah.
waiting for a bacon sandwich, and they've got to leave the calf. Not that they're northern.
I want to know where that West Brom fan is who insulted Paul Daniels on the petrol station
Oh, that
in
was
our
great.
first or second show.
What did he say again?
He just went and insulted Paul
He said
Daniels.
something about his wife or him looking old or something.
He said
Debbie
you-
McGee, yeah.
It was Debbie
something
McGee
like
says
that.
you've
And
lost
the look
it.
on his face, he just looked old.
Yeah.
Crestfallen and
Bloke's
old.
listening, he should get in touch
again.
and update his
Do you know
car
what?
park insults.
We're back next week, and next week, I tell you what we want you to tweet about. If you're still listening to us, I was listening to the Winter Olympics, and I was watching the ice hockey, and the American commentator went, "The hockey gods are smiling on Canada today. The hockey gods." And I'd like to really know who is in the pantheon of football gods. Obviously, Bobby Robson is like the equivalent of Zeus.
You would have Matt Letizia as the god of penalties.
He's the god of penalties. That's a great example. I'd have the main god, the god they all bow down to, the ranking god, the Zeus really of football gods is called Ball. Ball. Yeah, because that's the football ball. Because ultimately, that's the thing.
Not net.
You'd have Gaza.
No, that's son of ball.
Net.
No.
And ball begat net.
So ball begat net.
And there was gnashing of teeth
No, I
and
think
rending of garments.
I think net is Ball's wife.
Do you think they're up there in the land of football gods going, as a footballing god?
Yeah, right, yeah. No, I think it's Ball is the head of the gods, then there's Net, his wife, then there's Box, his son.
Gaza would be the god of fun.
No, he'd be the god of... Yeah.
Gaza with like little...
He'd be like
little
Loki.
goat's legs.
He'd
No,
be like
Loki.
Loki.
Barton would be Loki.
He'd be Anyway, you get them in, you can see how much we're enjoying it.
That's a good one.
Bye!
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The Warm-Up with Johnny Vaughan on Talk Sport.